Hello, my name is Simon and welcome to AFC Bournemouth Analysis. Yeah, it's good to be back, but basically I'm, like last season, doing a quick video on AFC Bournemouth and how they fit into the fantasy football phenomenon, because I've been asked so many times, well, twice, about Bournemouth players, who's playing what position and so on and so forth, and that is not an easy question to answer. I imagine most teams are the same. They don't quite know who their starting 11 are. Very few, there have been a lot of changes over the summer, especially for us with incomings and injuries, which are always great. But yes, I thought I'd do a quick video saying who I recommend in which position. I've taken a look at the prices, I've written some notes because I'm really cool. And yeah, so basically this video is for you if you want to know which Bournemouth players you should be putting in your fantasy teams and which ones you should be steering well clear of. I've also time-stamped the section in the description of this video, each section of the team: defence, midfield, attack, goalkeeper. So you can just skip to those if you only want those. But yeah, without further ado, let's talk about the man who will be behind the sticks, or in between the sticks, rather. Yeah, in goal, this is the one question I've been asked a lot, and it's not an easy question to answer, who will be in goal for Bournemouth this season, because Begovic looks a shell of a man, so I definitely wouldn't get him in. I think he's at 4.5. He does not represent good value. If you were asking me, I'd say Artur Boruc will play, despite being, I think, 40 now, or at least turning 40 this year. I think he'll be the one that will start in goal for us against Sheffield United. I think the other two options, Ramsdale and Travers, they're just too inexperienced. I especially think Ramsdale looked a bit shaky with his distribution in pre-season, and Travers, he's not quite there yet. I think those players would really benefit from a loan. But yeah, I think it'll be Boruc, and I would steer clear of Begovic. But in general, I would avoid getting one of our keepers because we conceded 70 goals last season. Are you quite mad? Yeah, defence. Basically, like goalkeepers, don't pick any of our defenders. It's not worth it. Even to fill a cheap slot, you're probably well worth going for another of the lower mid-table clubs like Villa maybe, or someone like that. There aren't really any defenders in the team that represent great value, to be honest. Nathan Ake and Steve Cook are the two centre-backs I think will start for us most weeks, even though Mepham might find himself starting, because I think Steve Cook is holding a slight injury. But Ake, he scored a few goals last season, not many. He does like to get forward on occasion, especially if the team isn't firing, which occasionally does happen. But yeah, I don't think they represent great value. The only real value I see is Adam Smith, who I think will be almost definitely one of the fullbacks that starts for us. I don't know the others really, but I think he always chips in. He always gets 1 or 2 goals in a season, and likes to get some assists. Other than that, in the fullback positions, it's really not clear who we're going to be playing. Simon Francis and Charlie Daniels, I think, despite being servants, won't play a lot of game time. I think Stacey in the right back position may get some time, but it's not really clear yet. Lloyd Kelly's out injured, and I think Rico might get a chance in the team at some point. Whether he'll be able to live up to his, I say, high price tag, 10 million isn't a lot in this market. But yeah, a lot of things were hoped of Rico. Last season he didn't really fire, didn't really get a big chance. This season he may get a chance, and if he takes it, he could be a player to watch out for because he has got a good delivery. He can pick a pass, but overall I would steer clear of our defence in general. Yeah, midfield, this is a more interesting one. I'll start with the central positions. I think Lerma will start every game for us, but he is a yellow card machine, so I would avoid him, to be honest, because he scored twice last season. 2 very good goals, but yeah, I don't think he'll be cracking in a lot of goals, and at 5 million there are probably other better value central midfield picks out there. The same I would say goes for Philip Billing, who I think will start for us maybe a few weeks in, not straight away, because he hasn't had a full pre-season. Other than that, yeah, we've got niggles and injuries in central midfield to the other players. I would have thought Dan Gosling would have been a definite starter, which is a bit annoying, but there you go. But he's injured, so he definitely won't be starting. Lewis Cook is out with an injury at the moment, but I think he will be worked back into the team, so he could be worth a low price punt because I have him down as costing 5 million. So he could be worth putting in, especially as I think he does. If he gets a full season in front of him, he can do good things. I think last season, obviously, he was injured for most of it, and when he wasn't, I think he was trying too hard, maybe playing with a slight injury as well. So yeah, Lewis Cook is probably the only value I see in central midfield, only potential value. The wings obviously is a bit more interesting because Fraser racked up the assists last season. Apart from Eden Hazard, who obviously is no longer in the Premier League, he got the most assists last season in the top flight. So he represents. He's one of our highest players, I think. 7.5 million. Only Wilson outprices him in the Bournemouth team. And yeah, I just feel like he's not going to have as good a season as he did last season. I still think he'll be a hugely effective player, but I feel like he won't be as good, especially because I think his head's been turned. He's only got a year left on his contract. I don't think he's a player that will give down tools, but I just don't think he represents amazing value. That said, he'll probably go get double the amount of figures he did last season, this one. But I just don't think he's worth. There are other probable wingers that are worth investing in rather than him. Other than that, you've got Wilson, who was just brought in from Liverpool. He wasn't even on the price list when I looked, but he could represent very good value because I think there are probably unwritten rules that he should play a certain amount of games, so he will get a chance in a Bournemouth shirt. And the amount of goals he scored for Derby last season, hopefully he can crack in with Bournemouth with a few. I would recommend maybe looking into him. Other than that, Danjuma, who we bought in from Club Brugge, I think represents quite a high risk at 6 million. I don't think he'll start straight away, but I could be very wrong. And then you've got, other than that, you've got Ibe, who, I mean, if he was going to do it, you would have thought he would have done it by now. This is his 4th season with us, and every season he's he's completely not fired. So I would probably avoid Ibe, but at 5 million, you could be tempted, especially with his pre-season that he's had. He's had a very solid pre-season, scored a goal, got a couple of assists, but he did that the last pre-season as well. So he flatters to deceive, I would generally avoid him. Yeah, finally, strikers is interesting. Wilson is obviously, as I said, our highest priced player at 8 million. And yeah, he'll crack in with some goals, and I think if you're looking for a striker, you could do a lot worse. I think he'll score around 15 goals this season. Assists, he has a good relationship with Ryan Fraser, so as long as Fraser stays, God willing, considering the transfer window closes in a couple of days, he represents okay value. Other than that, Josh King is 6.5, and I think he'll have a better season than he did last season. Although that said, that all depends on whether he can keep his place in front of Dominic Solanke, and that's not a joke, because I know a lot of people have written off Solanke already, but I think Solanke does have something about him. We've made him a number 9, and I think we want to play him behind Wilson. So I think if he's given a chance, he will chip in with assists and a few goals. Not a huge amount, but I think he'll get a points total higher than I think a lot of people will expect. And his price isn't too daunting, because I think a lot of people aren't expecting him to start ahead of King. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him, if King starts faltering, I wouldn't be surprised to see Solanke come in. And I think he'll be an effective sub as well. So yeah, that covers every player, I think. Pretty much. But in general, avoid our defenders. Look for I think the best value in our team comes from our wingers and our strikers, as you might expect. There's no real surprises in there this season. I think last season I said Fraser would have a good season, and he did. I would generally say it's hard to pick a player that's really going to fire for us this season, because I think the players we've bought in, Lloyd Kelly, Stacey, Billing, Danjuma, and apart from Wilson, who I think will get you points, I think those 4 new players, none of them are going to be racking up the points in terms of goals and assists, because obviously 2 of them are defenders, one of them is an unproven winger in the English league, and another one's rather sulky, huge, hulking central midfielder that scores a couple of goals, but is generally more known for his hold up play, but just stopping the other team really. So that's my conclusions. So I hope this was helpful. If not, please feel free to berate me in the comments. I'd love to hear your abuse. But yeah, if you have any questions about AFC Bournemouth and your fantasy team, just let me know and I will do my very best to help. In terms of this channel, there won't be videos on every game, but I will be looking to do videos every now and then. In terms of the next video, I am looking to do a very short preview of the upcoming season, so look out for that. That should be online on Thursday or Friday, probably Thursday. So yeah, if you do have any thoughts on how Bournemouth are going to do, let me know. I'd be really interested to know. And yeah, you can follow AFCB Analysis on Twitter and Facebook. It'd be great if you could share it around. I'd really appreciate it. So yeah, that's all I had to say. Thanks so much for watching, and up the cherries in all departments.